Better. Stupid camera. What was it doing that way around? Morning, crew. Welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. We're back in the workshop. Yes, I know it's an extra live stream. In fact, last weekend's was an extra live stream. This is the one that happens every fortnight. I don't know. I'm confused just like you are. Doesn't matter. We've got a live stream and we have a pie. Now, the sad thing is, I only grabbed this morning. It's a Bake Shack steak and cheese. We've done it before. It's already rated. We're not going to score this one. But if it turns out to be terrible, then I might alter the score on the board. Now, let me just log in. Morning, Holly. Right, let's pause that. We will refresh this. And hopefully the live stream will be showing. And we'll find out who's in the workshop. Oh, there we go, look. Boom. Right, who have we got? No, don't need Nobby at the moment. Thank you. Chat, George Bonnie 90. Hello, everybody. Big thumbs up. Good morning, George. Welcome back. Vijay Governor, good evening, Andy and crew watching from South Africa. Morning, Vijayant. Roger Heaps, good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger. Hope all is well around Invercargill. I do miss being down there, actually. It's good fun. There's still more museums to go and check out. I still haven't had a chance to check out all the motorcycle museums yet. Right, we have my old coffee. I'm going to work my way through that one, and then we'll start on the next one. Oh, hell, that's cold. We'll start on the next one. Jeez. Simon Roll. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. Hope all is well, matey. Over in England. No, I don't want a family plan. Oh my God, there's so many adverts and stuff. Right. Who have we got else? We've got 10 watching. So if you're already watching and you've not chipped in on the comments, now is a good time. Jim Haynes, got to hit the free like button first. Thank you, Jim. Much appreciated. Very good. So what's been going on this week? Well, it's been one hell of a week. So on Sunday afternoon, yes, I know, a day of rest, I had to drive up to Auckland. Now, it wasn't just for work, to be fair. As you well know, Mrs. Mechanic has gone on an adventure. That's right. I'm home alone now with the mite of Marmite. We call her mite of Marm sometimes. With Marmite. So it's me looking after the dog, which is, what could possibly go wrong, to be fair. I mean, I actually forgot to feed her yesterday. Her breakfast lasted about 3 seconds this morning. Look, I haven't got kids anymore. They're all left home. Otherwise, they wouldn't get fed either. So, I'm pleased to say we successfully dropped Mrs. Mechanic off at the airport and she got a flight. Although I think it was delayed a little bit. She got a flight down to Queenstown to meet up with Eloise, our youngest daughter. And then I went over the Harbour Bridge and dropped off the mite of Marm with Ben, my eldest lad, who very, very kindly, and we had no other option really, he kindly took a few days off work just to look after Marmite. Top lad. The good news is he did get quite a bit done on his TDR 250 as well, because he was working in the workshop. So Marmite had a great holiday with Ben. She's very happy. And then I was working in Auckland on Monday. I had a meeting in the afternoon, which went okay. Not going to elaborate because it's all confidential stuff, but it went okay. It could have gone a lot worse. Stayed in Auckland on Monday night, and then it was a ridiculously early start. Tuesday morning, had to get to the airport. And on Tuesday, I flew to Gisborne. And then with a colleague of mine, he's in charge of service for the whole of Australia and New Zealand, a chap called Trevor, very nice guy. I've a lot of respect for Trevor, very clever guy, very good at people management, relationship management within a commercial environment, for sure. And in Gisborne, drove about an hour and 15 minutes into the back of Beyond. And now don't forget, this is an area which was hit by the cyclone earlier in the year, and most of the infrastructure was devastated. 97% of all roads in that area were closed immediately after the cyclone. Basically, you can't go anywhere. You know, you're just staying at home. It's a lot better now, but as we were driving out and the road was getting smaller and smaller and turning to gravel and the bridges were getting narrower, it was pretty amazing to see the damage, the devastation that had happened. I mean, one of the bridges, right, the river, and it was a river, the river was probably, I reckon, about 8 to 10 meters, didn't get a tape measure out, but I reckon 8 to 10 meters below the bottom of the bridge, right? And it was still, you know, sort of in flood a little bit because there was a lot of silt, you know, it was very brown was the water, and it was very fast flowing. And during the cyclone, just to put it in perspective, and this is like a V-shaped valley, right? So the, you know, it takes a lot more volume of water to get an extra meter, and then another meter is even more water, you know. The railings off the bridge were all but gone. There was probably a couple of little bits left. All the rest had disappeared. And the only thing that could have done that was the trees and all the debris that had been washed down by the river during the flooding. So that river had risen, not 10 meters, because that was on the underside of the bridge down to the current water level. No. The normal water level was probably another meter or two below that. And obviously the water had flown over the top of the bridge, and the trees and stuff had hit the railings and taken them out. So we're looking at a rise of this particular river of something in the region of probably, I don't know, 13, 14 meters, between 12 and 14 meters anyway, minimum to cause that damage. And it was just incomprehensible to imagine the river that deep. Absolutely amazing, really. And even some of the gravel roads were really washed out. There was gullies going through them. I did ask the hire company for a 4-wheel drive. Thanks, Hertz. We got a 2-wheel drive puddle hopper, but we made it through, as always. It was absolutely blathered when I took it back. Anyway, that meeting went extremely well. Very happy. A lot better than I thought it was going to go, to be fair. Got back to the airport, and then we had to fly from Gisborne down to Wellington. Stayed in Wellington that night. Had a really nice meal out on the waterfront with some colleagues. Alan was there. Very nice. And then we had a pretty 9 a.m. meeting with Landcorp. Landcorp is the government arm where they own, I think it was 145 farms here in New Zealand. I think it's dropped a little bit now. It's about 130, just under 130 farms, but still a major player in the agricultural sector here in New Zealand. And again, great meeting. Very, very good, actually. A lot of work post-meeting, that's for sure. That's what we're doing this week coming. And then from there, jumped in the hire car. Alan flew back to Auckland, jumped in the hire car, went over the hill, headed north to Castors, did a meeting there, very well. Went back to Wellington, had to get a flight from there to Napier that evening, 7 o'clock flight. Arrived in Napier just after 8 o'clock, got another hire car. God, I hate car parks, trying to find hire cars, but anyway. And then we got checked in at the hotel, which was okay. We're staying there again. And then went out to get something to eat. And we only just we found an Irish pub, managed to twist the arm of the young lady to feed us. And she was very happy. Spoke to the chef, and he agreed to cook us some food because we'd not eaten for quite some time. Next morning, which would be Thursday morning, I had a meeting in Napier, which went well, and then had to fly back to Auckland. And then stayed in Auckland that night. Very early start Friday morning. Had to skip over the bridge, pick up the Mite of Marne before Ben went to work. That was fun. Now, normally the traffic in Auckland is horrific. Sod's law. On that morning, it wasn't. I arrived with Ben a bit too early, to be fair, so I had to wait around for him to get out of bed and stuff, but that was all right. Got the Mite of Marne, went up to, and I'm going to show you some stuff that I picked up, went up to Silverdale, to the one-stop cutting shop, got some laser cutting picked up for the workstations, the 2 new workstations are building for in the office. I went down to Steel North Shore and picked up the steel. It was pouring with rain. It was absolute monsoon that morning. Back to head office, got to head office, did all that before 10 o'clock. Back to head office, had a meeting, Teams meeting with some of my colleagues. Some were on Teams, some were, in the office. That was a good meeting. That was about an hour and 15, I think, for that one. And honestly, I was knackered. I was just about to fall asleep in the meeting. So my plans were to, I went to go and see Jared. That's right. I went to go and see Jared at Forge, and then headed home Friday afternoon. Left Auckland just after 12. And I didn't get home till about 4:30. I was just taking it real steady. I was really tired, to be honest. I got home and just slobbed out, to be honest, in front of the telly. Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't do anything. I was just knackered. And then on yesterday, came into the workshop, unloaded all the steel, cleaned it all up, because, man, it was filthy. Absolutely horrific. You're getting black hands all the time. So cleaned it all up with some of the Forge brake cleaner and some of the blue roll. Really good, actually, for that job. And you'll see what I've bought. And then drilled out the little tabs that we got laser cut. So they're all ready to go to be welded into place. And that's today's job, to start the frame. Yeah, hopefully I get nice and square. Anyway, that's been my week. It's been a very, very busy week, and I am still really tired. And I'm going to have to go pretty slow today to make sure I don't make any mistakes. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I was going to film it as a video, but I'm just not up to it today, to be honest. Now then, right. Purple Monkey, 1974. Hey, Andy and all. Dark and wet here at 7:30 p.m. Now the clocks went back last week. Don't you hate that when the clocks go back? Your evenings just disappear. They're gone. Simon, I spy a go-kart with some more work done. God damn it. Well, actually, Simon, all I've done is move it off the bench yesterday. I've not done any more work to it. But we have now got the correct size, or as near as we can get, pipe for the main chassis rails. I have got that, which means possibly next weekend. We'll see. I'm sort of focused on this workstation job at the moment. I need to do it quick. I want to get it done, installed, finished, and then carry on. So it'll be a few weeks probably before we get back to the go-kart. But hey, listen, it's not urgent, right? It's all right. It's all right. I've got bikes all around me at the moment. Hopefully the petrol's not going to catch fire. Now then, Kevin, Machine NZ, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Kevin. Hope all is well, sir, in your workshop. Roger Heaps, congratulations, mates. That's got to take a little pressure off. It was a really good week, but man, it was full on. It really was. And don't forget, embedded in all of that is all my normal admin work. So, even if I get to a hotel at a reasonable time in the evening, there's still at least a couple of hours of admin work to do to try and get caught up. And that's not everything that I do on a normal daily basis. That's just the urgent stuff, because one of the problems that when I'm on a plane, no internet, right? Can't do emails. I can't take phone calls. I'm dead in the water. It really is dead time. And then you're in a hire car, and oh man, we couldn't get the phone to connect to the car. No hands free. I'm not taking calls while I'm driving. It's just not going to happen. So more dead time. And then you're there, and then you're straight to where you're going, and you're in a meeting. So the phone's on silent. You're not taking calls. So it makes it very difficult. When I'm in my own vehicle, there's no airports. I'm just driving. I'm on hands free. I'm taking calls. I'm putting fires out. I'm providing the assistance that I'm employed to do so. So flights are very difficult when it comes to my normal role. I see them as a bit of a roadblock, a hurdle, so to speak. However, this last week's travel would not have been possible. The schedule that we had to get done would not have been possible if we hadn't, implemented flights as the means of transport, or the main mean of transport, to get around the country, because I was hopping around all over the place. And all of those flights, quite surprisingly, all of those flights were classed as not domestic. Well, they were domestic, but they were like local flights in little planes Zero security. Nothing. And that included getting to Wellington. So we had Gisborne, Napier, Wellington. None of those places security. Wow, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. Bit of an eye-opener. Where do we get to? J. Billy Josh. Hey, Andy, glad to see you again. Bought another classic car on top of my bikes. XR3i Cabriolet. Hey, soft top. Nice. That... I'm not going to add any more comments to that. Back in the day, very much a hairdresser's car, right? You know, you see the chicks who are driving around in those kind of things. Very cool cars indeed, and they went well. I remember when I was at Tarrington Hall School, a wee lad. God, I've forgotten his name now. Holy crap! But his mum had an XR2. No, she had an XR3i. I can't remember if it was a Cabriolet or not, but she had an XR3i, black one. And man, did she drive. And that was the first time that I learned how you palm the gear, on obviously a manual. You palm the gear stick. You don't grab hold of it. You just palm it, you know, and bring it back. So you don't grip hold of it. And she, I think she used to do a bit of rallying when she was a bit younger. And man, she could drive. God, it was like warp factor 7. Being picked up from school and taken home. Pretty cool. Very cool. Brother Phil, he had an XR2i. And that thing went well too, really well. Now then, where do we get to? Bear with me. I had an XR3i before they were a classic, before they were worth anything, right? They're worth a lot of money now. J. Billy Josh, Purple Monkey 1974. I did it in the past, lol. You've already had one before. Very good. Connor K, morning Andy and crew. Sounds like a busy week you had. Happy that you found a good Irish pub to get a meal. Did pretty well for meals, to be fair. Very rich food in the other restaurants. It doesn't agree with me. I need to learn to go for the salad. The chicken Caesar salads with a bit of bacon on. Perfect. I like those. But yes, didn't do that. Just saw the steak. I'll have a steak. Saw the belly pork. I'll have a belly pork. You know, that's just, you know, the way I roll. You know, stomach's placing the order, not the brain, right? Stuart Martindale. Hey up, Andy. Great to chat with you. Live. How's Mrs. Mechanic's chimney going? Chimney's going pretty well. I drove it this morning actually to go and get the pie, and we need to sort out the wibbly wobbliness. To be honest, it tracks down the road. You're driving and it just seems to wander all the time. Anything over about 70 km an hour is a little bit disconcerting. Not sure it's just tire pressures. It might be wheel alignment. Don't know at the moment. I've not really drilled into it. I've not even gone underneath the vehicle since we did the trip. Just been too busy. I believe it's safe. Every now and again, and it did it to me driving. I went to Taupo a couple of weeks ago, Mrs. Mechanic. I had a day off. Went to a craft fair that she wanted to go to. And every now and again, it does a really weird thing. And it did it on me that day. And you get a little flashy warning light on the dash. It didn't come on this time round, but normally you get a little flashy warning light. It feels to me, the vehicle was in 2-wheel drive, which is rear-wheel drive at the moment. It felt to me like one of the freewheeling hubs was trying to engage. Really, really odd. We had no problems with it at all. It still wandered a bit previously when we took it up to Kaitaia with the trailer, but I put that part down to being the trailer. But when you tow in the trailer, it's slightly better, not worse. It's more fickle when it's on its own without the trailer. We had no problems until we did the biggest boulderish river crossing, and then it started to play up. So I wonder if maybe one of the wheel speed sensor wires has got damaged by a rock or something. Something's been dislodged. I don't know. Maybe there's a bit of damage underneath. I need to have a look. And when I do, I'll report back. Maybe do a little video for you and stick it on the channel so you can see what's going on. But yeah, it's at the moment the handling of that little Jeep, the road handling has gone out of the window, and it shouldn't be the way it is. There's definitely a fault. There's plenty of little Jimneys around that we've seen that have got the lift kits on. They've got bigger tires than we've got on ours. and they seem to be fine on the road. So there's something not quite right. So I need to have a look, but I'll keep you posted. But reliability wise, it's great. It just starts and does, and it's really good on fuel. Now then, J Billy Josh had 3 XR2s in the 90s, but never an XR2i. It's turbo, RS turbine. Ooh, nice. I think this lad's mum's was a turbo. I just can't remember. It went like shit off a shovel. It really went well, so it probably was. I mean, my dad used to drive fast, right? He used to do rallying as well, and that's maybe how he knew her, because they definitely knew each other. It wasn't just from going to the same school with her child. But anyway, yeah, great fun. But no, she made Dad's driving look sedate. Everywhere was a rally stage when she was driving. It was just unbelievable. You probably won't get away with it these days. Anyway, we have here, I'm getting hungry, a Bake Shack steak and cheese. Now, we've already rated this. This one is cold. I got to the petrol station this morning. There was nothing in the pie warmer. I was quite distraught, to be fair. I said to the young lady, I said, is there any chance you can just grab us one from out back that hasn't been cooked yet? Because I am starving. So she did. So I purchased it cold. So it would take a bit longer in the pie warmer, I think. We'll start with the 23 minutes and see how we get on. Okay, so those that are interested, this is what they look like, because you may not have all seen the Bake Shack steak and cheese, but I'm not going to review it again. But if it turns into a catastrophe, then we'll look at the old score and maybe alter it. So there you go. This is the pie. It's a square pie. Look at that. Very weird. Okay, most rare for New Zealand. Normally they're round. Structurally, it's very integral. They've got obviously a bit of leakage going on here when they've been making it, but that's not from being cooked because, well, I don't think it's, maybe it has. Well, yeah, it would have been cooked, wouldn't it? Because all we're doing is warming it up. So it'll have just spewed a bit of gravy out while it was warming up. Anyway, let's take a wander around the workshop. There's a lot of blue in the workshop, which you can't see, so I'm going to be careful with the camera. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, boom. Back of the sandblasting cabinet, sorry. And whilst we're up, we'll have a wander around and I'll show you the bits and pieces that I'm working on at the moment. Okay, there we go. We'll stick them in the pie warmer. Hasn't been cleaned. About that long. That'll do. Okay, right. So where do we start? Let's head over here. Yes, the go-kart has moved. I had to get off the bench. I want to stick it outside, but I don't want it to rust. You know, it's already rusty enough. So over here, I'm going to put you down because otherwise I might trip up the auto rotate thing. There we go. Look. Okay. So these are just 6mm plates, little tabs. These are drilled 8.5. They might get some of them might get countersunk. Depends if I have enough time or not. I'd like to, but that will probably burn up most of today, to be fair, so probably won't. They're for the 30 by 30 box. In fact, I can even show you some of that, how it's going to work. So, if we just push you over here. Sorry to jump around so much. Stick you down there. Here is some of the box. We'll just pull that one out. There we are. Oh, very nice. So all I have to do, and I'll describe the drawing shortly, but I've just got to notch that box section, probably about 30mm in. I think it was 30mm that I decided on. Just so drill a hole, and then slit disc out on both sides. That will then sit in there. A couple of lines of weld either side, and all of a sudden we've now got a mount for that box section, and it's super strong. It's 6mm, so it's not going to bend. This section here won't have weld. It'll just be left open. I'm not going to start, there's no need for it. It doesn't need to be that strong. The larger ones, exactly the same. Again, 6mm plates. This time it's a 10mm hole, and again I'll just drill that both sides and then cut it out with the slit disc, and that will slide in and get welded into place. Again, really simple, really quick, and not having to make all of these up is a major bonus. I did consider actually making them all myself, but it was going to take a lot of time, and it wasn't that expensive to get them laser cut, to be fair. So, what the hell, get it done. Plus, it looks really smart. They're all exactly the same. Now, the design. What is it? What are you making, Andy? Well, I'm gonna hold the book up because I don't think I can tilt the camera down too far. So, in fact, hang on. Before we do that, let's go back to the laptop. I'm jumping around a bit at the moment, and I sent some photos on my email. So just give me a second while I get that fired up. Hang on, bear with me, bear with me. Emails. Oh, hopefully it'll work. Tick, 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 tick. There we go. Right. Right, here we go. Right, so this is the office as it stands, okay? Can you see that okay? Not really. But I'll take you out of the tripod for a second so you can see better. So this is the office. It's pretty crap, in all honesty. There's not a lot of space in there. If I just go across to the next one, you can see the doorway going in is pretty tight. There's junk all over the place. And the gap here, we've got some old bunk beds down the left-hand side here. And there's the desk with the twin screens. Printer's buried under there somewhere. And the gap here is only about 80 centimeters, about 800 mil. It really is not enough. You can just about get the chair pulled out and you can do some work. The desk is very low. I often find myself crouching over the desk, so I'm not making use of the back support of the chair. And man, it really, really hurts. I get a lot of back pain working in there, and it's just got a lot worse recently. But see, the double screens for editing and stuff, very useful. I use the same screens when I'm working as well, for my main day job. But yes, there's a lot of crap in there, and it all needs tidying up. So we're going to go through it all. Right, so that's that bit done. Let's go back onto the live stream. Boom. Okay, and we'll go over here again. I'll just go freehand. What the hell? We'll work it out. So if I put the book like that, there we are. So I was thinking, okay, I want to design something. I want to make something to replace that desk. So right, okay, I'll use a couple of roll cabs as drawers because that increases capacity. I need to make the whole thing a bit longer, and you'll see some of these dimensions have changed as the design has changed. This is just sort of the fag packet design to start off with, just to get rough measurements. And this is where I started to go to town. So this is how I design stuff. I don't use CAD. I use paper and cardboard. I was originally going to do one desk and some shelving, right? So as like a feature wall for the backdrop, because I was, A, I need to store a lot of stuff, and B, I wanted to do possibly film in there as well. Who knows? And this is me planning those joints. Either it's single bolt, or was considering to go double bolt, but I decided to go back to single bolt. There's no need for double bolt. All I have to do is make sure there's some diagonals in the design, and we're all good. So this is sort of the design. Sort of. It did get a little bit. Oh no, that's the right size. Yep, there we are. 2.5 meters long. So it's very long. And this is the just to clarify, this is the desk area, the height of the desk, which is 960 mil, which is quite high. That's like a workbench height. It's a high workbench. And then there's also a shelf that runs all the way across the top, and that's for storage. There's still probably about 600 mil above the top of that shelf to the ceiling, maybe a bit more. I haven't really measured it, to be fair, but at least 600 mil. So there's plenty of storage room up there. And then down either side, there's going to be some shelving. And this is going to house things like hard drives. I've got an old PC that I use for all my archive videos, which connects to all those hard drives and stuff. Now, there is an error on this drawing. I have changed what I'm going to be doing. You'll see here that this upright, this is 30 by 30 box, comes right down and joins onto the steel work, this 50 by 50 box that comes across. I'm going to eliminate that, and this is now going to be free hanging. It'll be strong enough. It doesn't need this mount here, and I'll put another shelf across the bottom here. So there'll be maybe, I'll move that one up a little bit, but there'll be about, I don't know, maybe 100 mil gap, and that'll allow things like wires and books and things to be. Basically, it'll give you another storage area. But I didn't want to have to cut the whatever timber I use for the top. I'll get some nice sort of kitchen worktop stuff to go in there. I wanted it to be one clean piece all the way across, and just have to notch out the corners rather than have to notch out halfway down, because, you know, it creates a rough edge and it doesn't look quite so cool. So I was tidying that up, so that'll get altered as I build it. And then the 2 roll cabs, everything's on wheels. We've got the casters for the main frame, and you'll see those shortly. And then we've got the 2 roll cabs. And I spoke to Brandon at Tang Tools. I've got to buy these new because I haven't got any spare ones. He's done me a great deal on those. But to be fair, the price has gone up a lot in the last sort of 12 months. So they're a significant cost. I haven't ordered them yet. They are in this, been put aside in the warehouse for me. And I've got to save up a little bit more money before I can buy those, because, you know, they're quite expensive. Now Mrs. Mechanic saw this design and she says, "Oh, this I like this. This is really cool. Maybe we should get rid of the bunk beds, and maybe I should have one as well." Yes. So now I have 2 to build. Hence why there's so much steel, and there's so many of those connection pieces, little tabs. The end frames, so that's the frame that's here. This is the end elevation, is all welded up. There's none of those little tabs in there. You've got the 2 uprights, you've got 3 cross pieces, and you've got 2 diagonals. They're all welded up, and these need to be super square. This is the rear, and as you can see, I did change the design a little bit, and I'd used pens, so you know what, it is the way it is. This is just a view from the rear to give you an idea of how that's going to work on the back. And the rear will have some diagonals and stuff on it. And then what's on this side here? Let's have a look. Oh yes, here we go. Look, so that's me designing the tabs, just coming up with the final stuff for the laser cutting guys, and then that's the steel order putting together. And that steel order is for 1 bench, and obviously I had to double it when Mrs. Mechanic said she wanted one. So there is quite a bit. The steel had to be cut to fit in the back of the ute, even though I had to put the tailgate down. So when I pulled it all out, some sections will be chopped to make multiple pieces. We couldn't go above about 2.4 meters. That was about as much as I wanted to hang off the back of the, you know, put in the tray. Otherwise it sticks out the back too much. So 2.4 is the length of the pieces that go from one side to the other underneath the workbench. So that's quite a long bench, to be fair. You know, but it'll give you lots of workspace and be great for all sorts of stuff, not just admin work and editing videos. I'll be able to do other bits and pieces, like maybe a bit of wiring or soldering and stuff. It'd be great for that as well. A lot cleaner environment. And, you know, since I've got roll cabs in there, I can have a few tools in there as well. Don't tell Mrs. Mechanic. Now those, this is the invoice. So it's always interesting to see what things cost. So this is Steel North Shore. They don't really give me much of a discount, to be honest, if any. I have to really twist their arm to get anything out of them. They say there's not a lot of money in steel, but, you know. Now, all the cutting, one thing to have a look at, all the cutting was, if you can see there, look, $80 just to cut the steel, because normally you've got to buy it in a 6-meter length. And, of course, without the big trailer, I can't transport 6 meters. I really couldn't be bothered to take the big trailer all the way up to Auckland and all the way back just to save a few dollars. But that's basically what it is, and I've labelled them all up. That's what I did yesterday. Labelled them all up so I can't make any mistakes, because there's nothing worse than cutting the wrong piece of steel, right? And then you go weld it back together again. There we go. That's better. So you can see all the lengths that are marked A. That's 8 at 1820. That's fine. I don't need to cut any of those. B. I've got to cut from the three 2.4 meter lengths. I've got to make 12 600s. Now, one of the beauties of using the tab system, this system here, is the actual length of cut. You know, you can increase the tolerance, because I'm going to make up a jig, which basically you put a bolt through and it aligns that. That would just vary to get your exact length, you know? So you don't have to be 100% accurate on your cutting. I mean, obviously I'll be as accurate as I can be, but it gives you that little bit of adjustment to move that in and out before you weld it up. So maybe I'll do a video. I don't know. We'll see how things pan out. I think probably what I'll do is I'll build one without filming it, and then next weekend or whatever it is, when I come to build the second one, then, you know, it'll flow a lot easier and I can make a video of what I've done. And if I have to make any changes, then you'll know about it. Okay, so yeah, you got the idea with that. And the total cost was $2,058.02 for that. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Steel prices have really gone through the roof. Now, all the laser cutting, there's 200 of these. There's probably more. Well, there's a lot more than I need, but I thought I'll get a few more made because I'm bound to incorporate this kind of feature into other designs as well. So we've got 200 of those, and we've got 60 of the larger ones. I probably will use nearly all of the larger ones, to be fair. All of that was just over $600. So yeah, Andy's been spending some money again. Bugger, you know. That's the way it is. Now, talking of spending money, if we go over here, these are the Castors. Now, there's a huge range of Castors available online, and there's some really cheap, nasty ones, like the ones that are on Sheldon down here, Sheldon the Mill. As you can see, that Castor is absolutely knackered. It's spat all the balls out. It's completely buggered. That one just there, look. And, well, in fact, there's one of the ball bearings on the floor. So, you know, that cheap Castors don't work, basically. I was given those, so I'm not going to complain, but they don't work. So with these workstations for being in the house, I want to make it look nice. You know, I've got to be, it's going to have a high use. I went for these. Now, these are an industrial Castor, made in Germany, but, well, yes, made in Germany. There you go. That's the company name there. Look, in Germany, and all you know, proper ball bearings, really smooth. And each of these Castors, it's cast aluminum wheel, 40mm wide, so it's got a good footprint. Each of these can carry 350 kilograms. That's the rating. So there's going to be 4 of these on each workstation. Now, obviously, there's no way the workstation, even fully loaded up, is going to weigh anything like 1.4 tons or 1,400 kilograms. Is that right? Yeah, it's right, isn't it? 1,400 kilograms. So there's no way that these things are going to operate way under their capacity. But they do look smart. Now, 4 of them have got the wheel locks on them, and where's one that hasn't? There's one. And 4 of them don't have the wheel lock. There's no need. These will be at the rear of the workstation, and these will be at the front of the workstation. So you can lock it into place. But the beauty is we can move the workstation around to get behind it and do wiring, and, you know, because you've always got to get behind your desk now and again to change some wiring and stuff. So, so much going on. Right, turning around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Coffee's getting cold. Bear with me, people. There's stuff all over the place. Right, try that. Oh, it nearly got the coffee. Okay. So yeah, interesting times. Lots of stuff going on as always. You know, keep yourself busy. Spending the money. Where do we get? Oh man, you guys have been busy. Look at this. Let me catch up with this first. Simon, did you get a good car scanner? Be able to look at the wheel speed sensors? Yes, in the comfort of the driver's seat. That's sort of what I've been waiting for, Simon. I nearly bought one a few weeks ago. Ivan was doing them on, he had a bit of a special deal going on his Amazon shop. I will, that's what I want to do. I really do. I want to just plug it in, see if there's any fault codes, and try and capture, although it only happens every now and again. This is the thing. I think there's 2 separate issues going on here. One is, it's a bit wibbly wobbly, and it's been a bit wibbly wobbly down the road ever since we got the wheels and tires put on and the lift kit put on. I could go back to the old wheels and tires and just see if that improves it. I'm sure it will do. But ultimately, we want to run the larger tires anyway, so we may as well fix the problem as is. So yes, but there's no money for that at the moment, so we have to just wait a little bit. Stuart Martindale. I had a new pasty from Cars. Huh? Sorry. I had new pasty from Cars. Cars is the bakery, right? In Bolton today. Very nice. Called a Rock It pasty. Basically, a steak pasty, but with the added joy of a bit of spices and chili. Absolutely gorgeous. That sounds very cool. Bit far for me to go, but thank you for the information. Sounds fantastic. Thank you, Stuart. Simon, can you use Sheldon to notch the box section 6mm mill cutter? Well, I could do, but I think it'll take a lot longer. And I don't have a 6mm cutter, but I do have lots of slit discs. And seriously, drill a hole, you know, I can do that on the pillar drill. It's pretty quick. And then zoom, slit disc. Yes, I know it's noisy, but slit disc. I would like to have used Sheldon, but next time. Maybe next time. Maybe I'll pick one up when I do Mrs. Mechanic's workstation. Although I do want to get them both done consecutively. I don't want one of them to end up being delayed for weeks or months, because you know as well as I do, I'm going to use that box section for something else. I'll end up making something else and she'll never get a workstation. And now she's got a YouTube channel, and she's got quite a lot of stuff for a craft room as well, which is all computer driven. Like she's got a scan and cut thing, which is really cool. Been asking to do me some gaskets for ages. She didn't go around to doing it. She's got a printer. She's got a few other bits and pieces, so she can set all that up in the office, which will give her a lot more room in her craft room, and then she can just come through and do what she needs to do, and then go back and do crafting again. At the moment, she's got a mixture of computers and paper and other stuff, and there's wires all over the place, and it's just very untidy. So it'll help her tidy everything up as well, and it'll give her a nice space for editing videos. Not on my desk. She doesn't tidy up. John Nuttall. I'm thinking earth bonding on this build, Andy. Well, yeah, it is a big steel structure. There's a lot of electrical components on it. So, yeah, maybe we should put an earth on it. Simon. Me to John. Huh? Me to John. Me to John. John Nuttall, hope the floor joists are up to it, lol. Yeah, that is a big concern, actually. The floor is hardwood, and it's about 40mm, maybe 35, 40mm joists. They're pretty hefty. But you're right, it is a concern, and the floor is very old. I mean, it's not going to weigh that much, right? It's going to weigh a fair bit, but the roll cabs are on their own wheels, so that the load, anything in the roll cabs will be distributed. They're pretty light when they're empty, and I'm not going to load them up with steel tools. Most of them will just be used as drawers for the office, and probably wires and that kind of thing. All the clutter that I have. I've got a lot of filming gear that I want to get stowed away, because it's all in boxes all over the place at the moment. I hope so. A very good point, and something we've got to be aware of, but I don't know yet. Work in progress. Plus, of course, we've got to be able to get the whole assembly into the house, so that's why I'm only welding up the end frames, and everything else is bolt into position. Tell you what, though, it's going to be bloody cool when it's done. I'm going to put... now, the monitors at the moment are on a mount that bolts horizontally onto the top of the desk. That's going to go. I'm going to get a wall mount, or wall mounts for the monitors, which will then fasten to the rear of the workstation. And I'm going to put some timber in the back, so it'll mount to there. And then you can push the monitors back out of the way when you're not using them, to give you more of a workspace. There'll also be, I'm going to put one of those lights that I got from out of Holly's workshop, which are the flicker-free ones, the LED lights. I'm going to put one of those underneath the shelf above the work area, so you can turn that on when I'm doing soldering and bits and pieces, and I'll be able to film, and there'll be no flicker. Pretty cool, right? So we've got all these pieces coming together, and I think it's going to work really well. Something else I want to get is one of those, and if you can recommend one, if you've got one and you think this is really good, I want to get one of those magnifier lights. So a bit like the watchmakers use and stuff, with the circular light on them, probably LED nowadays. But again, I need to make sure it's flicker free, right? Or I need to run it, maybe use a driver on it that's going to make it flicker free, with the magnifying glass, so that when I'm doing soldering and stuff, I can actually see what I'm doing now. Because it's not ideal. Close-up vision, pretty crap. I wouldn't be able to be an astronaut, a spaceman anymore, or a pilot, that's for sure. But yeah, A lot of work, but going to be good. As regards painting, the finish on this steel work, it'll all just be cleaned back and lacquered. When I'm not going to use any kind of color, I want to keep all the grinding marks and the welds, and you know, to me, all that's interesting stuff when you look at it. When you paint stuff, it hides all that away, and it just looks like anything else in the house. But no, I'm a big fan of just of lacquered steel. So yeah, better get the welds right, right? Simon, the wibbly wobbly may be affecting the steering wheel sensors. Yeah, you're right. It could be something to do with that as well. One of the things that I asked, because it has got lane departure control thing. So if you wander across a white line or get a bit close to a white line, it does get upset and it goes, oh, and it tries to put brakes on and stuff to try and get you back in, and it wobbles the steering wheel. Haptic, isn't it? It wobbles the steering wheel to let you know that there's something not quite right, to get your attention as a driver. I did ask when they did the wheel alignment if they reset the steering sensor, and they said yes, we did. So yeah, who knows? The bottom line is, it still handles just as well as one of our old SJ410s. So for me, I'm sort of used to it, and I had to put up with it. But when I get out of my Ford Ranger Ute, or any other vehicle for that matter, and then get back in the chimney, it's like, holy shit, I have to concentrate now. So I do want to make it better. Mrs. Mechanic isn't over happy with the way it is. Basically, you've destroyed a really good car, Mr. Young. Yeah. Sorry. JJ, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, JJ. Welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Kevin, talking of gaskets, I need to make a couple for the Hoglet V-twin using thin card at the moment. What gasket paper is best in New Zealand? I can't get to it. It's hiding in that roll cab over there. I got mine, I think I got mine from Repco. Actually, you can buy it on a roll. Wasn't that cheap, to be fair. I think it was from Repco. And it seems to work pretty well. There's a gasket company in Auckland, West Auckland, that will make gaskets for you. They'd probably be able to recommend the best gasket compound for your application. And they'll probably be quite happy to send you a roll, sell you a length. So, but again, I can't remember the name of them. It's years ago since I used them. Let me try and Google it for you. See if I recognize the name. Oh, can't spell. That might be them. Oh, distributors. No, it wasn't that one. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Manuera. Doctor Who. Where the hell was it? Oh, pie's ready. That rings a bell. Gasket Specialities. 1991. Let me just go on to that for you. There we go. That looks like the place. Actually, here we go. So the address is 145 Station Road, Penrose, Auckland, postcode 1061. Their phone number, are you ready, Kevin? 095790834. Company called Gasket Specialities 1991, Penrose. So you can Google that to get all the contact details. But yes, that's the company I've used. We used them for, I think they made me some gaskets for something. One of our I think they might have made the ones for the TDR, actually. I think they might have done. Yeah, it was a fair few years ago now, but they were really helpful. So I'm sure that they'll be able to help you out. How's that for service? I can't seem to get flexoid paper, which I used years ago in the UK. I want the paper type, not the rubber stuff, etc. So there you go. Speak to them. They'll be able to help. God, there's loads of comments coming through. Simon. Kevin, I'll happily send you some from the UK. We still get it. Bingo! Another option. There you go. Collaboration. Cheers, Simon. Cheers, Andy. I'll have a look. No worries. Well, you've got a couple of options now. Is there a PO box on your YouTube? Yeah, there is. My PO box address is PO Box 6265, Victoria Street West, Auckland. Postcode, sorry, New Zealand, if you're sending it to New Zealand. New Zealand, postcode is 1142 is the PO box address. Oh, for Kevin. I'm an idiot. Yes. Kevin, he needs your address. Honestly, I'm terrible. Half asleep, lads. Sorry. Right. We'll finish this cigarette, then we'll go and find the pie and see what it looks like. Morning, Steve. So, plan of attack today, just while we're filling in a bit. Plan of attack for today is to make up 2 end frames first. Got to get those absolutely spot on. I might make all 4, to be fair. Well, no. If I'm going to make a video, I can't make all 4. I might make 3, and then I can use the 3rd one as a template for the 4th, and the 2nd one, obviously, as well. So we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. And then I want to get the main horizontal bars made. There's 5 of those out of 50 by 50. I think, I can't remember now. Maybe I made the bottom. Yeah, I think it was 50 by 50 for all 5. And then I can get the main frame put together and get it all braced and get it all square and everything. And then I can weld in the angles. Now the angles, all the diagonals will be bolt-in. We're going to be using the tabs for those. Just more for aesthetics than it is for actual requirement. You know, it'll just make it look pretty cool. Although, to be fair, most of them will be hidden behind timber anyway. But it'll look nice. It'll look nice. It'll look a lot better. And it'll be easier to build up in the house. Smaller pieces to carry inside. More work, Andy. Yes, but it'll look better. So we'll do that. There's no way I'll get it all finished today. Not even going to attempt it. I've got next Saturday. I'm working from home all next week. And I won't be in the workshop. I've got a lot of admin work to catch up with. So I'll be in the office, getting a bad back, doing that. One thing I forgot to mention, because it's such a high desk, basically, I've got one of those architect chairs coming, which is basically the same kind of chair that I've got now, but you can elevate it a lot higher, and it's got a little ring underneath for your feet to go on as well, like a footrest. It'll also allow me, when I want to, I can push the chair aside, and it's high enough up to use it as a stand-up workbench. So I'll be able to, I maybe have to elevate my laptop a little bit on a box or something, but I'll be able to work stood up as well, which will definitely help my back. A lot of the staff at head office have started to do that now, and the desks at work are pretty posh. You can actually raise and lower the desks, which is smart. I'm not doing that, but they were very expensive. Oh, there you go. Look, no PO box. Well, you'll have to work out an email and send him your address, Kevin. That'll work. So yeah, that's the plan for today. I'm not going to work my ass off all day today. I'm really tired, and I'd like to be finished about 5 o'clock today at the latest, really, just so I can have a shower and just chill out for the evening. Because I know I've got a lot coming up the next few days, but it's going to be good. It's going to be really cool, and I might even post a few photos on Facebook and Instagram during today as to how we get on, which will lead into a video for next time I film. Yeah, right. Let's go get that pie, because I'm starving. My coffee's getting cold. And we're nearly an hour in. God damn it. Okay. Here we go. Dum 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 dum. I know, one day. And sorry, I've not put Miss November on yet. Not a chance. You'll have to wait for Miss November for next time round. Okay, here we go. The pie. It has got bigger, that's for sure. And it's pretty hot, so I reckon we're good to go. All right, we'll stick it on the only clean place in the workshop at the moment. There we are. Right, turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, that works. That sort of works. There we go. Don't fall off. Right. Oh, now I do still have a bad bag. Yes, it hasn't got any better. I'm getting quite concerned, actually. It's not too bad first thing in the morning when I get out of bed, but by the end of the day, I'm in agony. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's on the left-hand side, right at the lower part of my back, if you're a doctor. So normally I get a bad back on my spine. This time it's not. So I don't know what's going on, whether I've got a trapped nerve or what. I have no idea. I really don't. Anyway, the pie. Quick slurp of coffee, cold coffee. Okay, we're going in. Right, quick scan around the pie. We're not going to be rating this pie or scoring it because I've already done it before. It's a Bake Shack steak and cheese. They're usually okay, to be honest. They're not too bad. Puff pastry on top, that's why it's shedding bits all over the place. And it's square. It's a square pie. Bake Shack, established in 1999. Same year that the Space 1999 episodes went out. Very cool. Well, they didn't go out then. They were based on that. There were no pies in Space 1999, from what I remember. Yeah, pretty hot. So I went for the corner technique. Being square. Very cool. So what have you guys been up to this last week? Yeah, question to you. It's always about me, and this is about us. Simon, Teng have done an advent calendar this year. The value of tools is more than the price of the calendar. Ooh. Well, Brandon actually sent me an email saying we need to meet up for a pint before Christmas. We try to do that every year. Maybe he'll just bring me an advent calendar. That'd be really cool. And we can do that. Because there's bound to be a Christmas live stream, right? So I can save all the bits that I've taken out and we can see, you can have a look and see what comes in it. That's a great idea. This is really hot, so bear with me. Now, Mrs. Mechanic. I promised you an update on Mrs. Mechanic in the thumbnail. Says she flew down to Queenstown. She had a couple of days. I think Eloise was working. She flew on the Sunday. Eloise was working on the Monday. And then she went walking on the Tuesday. But it's like two separate walks that she's doing down there. And she was away for, I think, 2 days on the first walk. In fact, let me just find out for you. She did send me a message. Because where she walks, there's no phone signal. So comms are very, very limited. She sort of disappears into the abyss. Here we go. Bear with me, I've got to go back a bit. Yeah, she got back. No, hang on. She's eating food. Sorry. What's going on? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, she was gone for a couple of days. She got back safely, which was a bit of a relief. And then they had a day off, I think, a day of rest, and she now went back out. And there's a picture here actually of Eloise and Logan on the ferry. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, there we are. So there she is. That came through, I think, yesterday, and they're on the bus. Sorry, on the ferry. They've done a bus drive, and now they were on the ferry to get across to where they needed to go. They're in Milford Sound, middle of nowhere, full of sandflies. Not ideal. And I think it's a 3-day hike, this one that she's on. She gets back on the Tuesday. That's right. She gets back Tuesday night from that walk. So she started yesterday. Oh man, it's a 4-day. Okay, 4 days. Gets back Tuesday night, Wednesday, she's got a day of rest. Thursday morning, she starts the next part of her adventure, the final part, which is a 4-day drive in the, well, 3-day drive. She's got to get from Queenstown to Timaru via bus. That basically takes a day. She'll get into Timaru on the Thursday night. Friday morning, sorry, Thursday night, she picks up the super carry, the Suzuki Carry, little pickup truck, fuels it up, checks all the levels and everything. And then first thing Friday morning, she has to drive to Rolleston, which is just south of Christchurch. She's booked in at the hairdressers at Copperhead Road. She's going to be there for 10 a.m. I think it is. Can't be late. She's getting a cut and all sorts of stuff. You'll see it on the video. She's filming the whole thing. And then from there, she drives to Hammer Springs, all in one day. So there's probably it'll take about 2.5 hours to get to Rolleston, and it'll take her another 2 hours to get to Hammer Springs. So there's 4.5, 5 hours driving that day. And then this is where it all starts to be fun, right? So on the Saturday morning, she fuels up in Hammer Springs. There's a little tiny petrol station there. It's really expensive. And then she drives the Molesworth. Now, the Molesworth track is a gravel road. We've done it a few times. She hasn't driven it before. I've always driven it myself, and she's been navigator. I mean, she's ridden Rainbows, but she's not ridden Molesworth. So she's going to drive the Suzuki Carry, 280 kilometers of gravel, almost. There's a little bit of tarmac at the end, but near enough. 280 kilometers, and then she's then got to drive from Blenheim to Picton, same day. She's staying in Picton that night. And then she's up early in the morning to get on the ferry to Wellington. That's now the Sunday. Arrives in Wellington 11 a.m. hopefully Sunday morning. And me and the mite of Mom in the Ford Ranger with the small trailer to meet her. We'll put it on the little trailer and drive home. It'll take us about 6 hours to get home, 6-7 hours to get home, taking it steady. I decided to meet her down in Wellington rather than get her to drive the last bit, because it's boring as shit is that last bit coming up to the North Island. It's busy roads, lots of trucks. The thing doesn't go particularly quick. And I thought, well, she's going to be really tired by that point. I'll just drive down, meet her, chuck it on the trailer, and then she can have a bit of a kip in the car. And I'll take on the heavy driving, you know. So it's going to work out pretty well, but a lot can go wrong. I did plan, I thought, oh, maybe I can get her to pick something up en route because she's in a little pickup truck, right? But that's still work in progress. I've not planned anything yet. We'll wait and see. One of the problems is she hasn't got a lot of time. So I can't really deviate from the route much. Wow, that was hot. So she's going to be filming it all. I sent her away with the GoPro. She has no idea how to use the GoPro, so we'll have to do some online training at some point. She can refer back to Ben. Ben's really good at GoPros as well. Hopefully she'll remember to charge all the batteries up. I've given her a load of memory cards. I gave her a little suction thing to go on the inside of the windscreen so she can film while she's driving down Molesworth. And she's got a phone for pieces to camera and stuff as well, and a tripod. I gave her a tripod as well. So hopefully it'll turn out pretty well. And she'll be getting those edited up at some point in the future. But a great little sort of lead in to what we're going to be doing with that vehicle next year. It's quite explosive, this pie. And there's a lot of pastry. A hell of a lot of pastry. And the contents are really, really hot. So for the rest of the year, work-wise, this next week I'm at home, Saturday in the workshop, Sunday after the live stream. We're doing a live stream on Sunday. After the live stream, hot footing it down to Wellington. In fact, no, I can't do a live stream. I've got to be there for 11 o'clock. I can't do a live stream next Sunday. Sorry, chaps. It's a 6-hour drive with the trailer. That's non-stop. So if I've got to leave at 5 I've got to leave at 5 in the morning. Holy shit. Man, that's crazy. 5 o'clock in the morning. Why do I do this to myself? Bugger. Okay. So that's going to be a very long day's drive, is that one. The following week, after I pick Mrs. Mechanic up, I don't know. I was supposed to be hitting the road and going to go and visit dealers again, but I'll probably just do a few days admin at home again that week. It'd be good to catch up Mrs. Mechanic, and maybe I'll help her edit up some of the video from the Suki carry trip. It won't be. It'll be one episode, I think, just the highlights. So maybe I can edit that up for her. Or maybe she'll want to edit it up because she does some pretty cool editing. Her editing's loads better than mine is. Simon. Looking forward to all the beeps and F words on the pickup videos. I think there'll be a few phone calls. I'll be ringing her up, annoying her. There's usually not much of a signal down Molesworth, but we'll try. I'll get her to ring me whenever she gets a signal. How's that? And then we'll try and get a bit of conversation on the video. But she wasn't happy that I put Molesworth in, to be fair. Oh, and there's another gravel road after Molesworth as well, which keeps her off State Highway 1, which is even more rugged. So she's going to be. I mean, she's very good at driving off-road. Don't get me wrong. She used to do off-road driving in the UK because we had the off-road site. She used to go off and do instructing and stuff on the moors. So she knows how to drive. Spencer M. Andy, do you have a PayPal link for contributions? I do. It's pretty easy though. Thank you very much. You just go onto PayPal and send money to, and my email address is Andy Mechanic. That's one word, Andy Mechanic, and then the @ live, live.co.uk. So Andy Mechanic @live, live.co.uk. And in advance, thank you very much. It really, really does help. Now, you can't send it through anymore as a donation. PayPal have restricted who they allow to receive donations now, and you have to be a registered charity. So you can't use the donation function. You'll have to just send it through as a payment. Sorry, it's just the way it is now, unfortunately. And to be fair, since that came into effect, I hardly ever get anything through PayPal. It's definitely deterred a lot of people from sending a few dollars through here and there, which is a real shame because it's only the I can't think of any other way of doing it other than with PayPal. I mean, you could become a patron, I suppose, but I don't really see much of that. They take a big chunk of that as well, but PayPal's the best way, really. Wow. It's still really hot. And there's some good chunks of meat in here, actually. It's quite tasty. Although I've not really found the cheese yet. Found plenty of steak. I'm sorry, I'm just having my breakfast. I'm not really even talking too much, am I? Oh, there is some good news. Ben got his TDR 250. He's doing a rebuild on one of his bikes. He got all the engine put together whilst he had Marmite, which is really good. He was very proud of himself. He's rebuilt a complete engine now. I think it's the first time he's done that, so we'll wait and see. I'm sure he's done a good job because he knows how rare the parts are and how expensive the parts are. He double-checked everything at every stage. I was quite impressed with some of the questions he sent through, actually. He's a good lad. He really is. Very clever mechanic. Always thinking out of the box is the lad. Now, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, Ian Cameron, good friend of mine. I'll give him a shout out. Ian Cameron, happy birthday. It's his birthday today. I worked with Ian at one of the Yamaha dealerships years ago. In fact, two dealerships with a bit of a gap in between. Before that, he worked at Yamaha Motor New Zealand. He was the parts guru. Ian knows all about the parts for Yamahas. Very, very clever chap, actually, and super helpful. But yeah, he was on the parts team. and he would often help me out. And he taught me one thing. If you haven't got the model code, I'm not ordering you any parts, because the model code is the key to making sure you get the right parts for the bike. Same with downloading service manuals and stuff. Don't just rely on the frame number or the VIN number. If you've got the model code, you cannot get it wrong. And I pass that on now to everybody I talk to. Really good advice. Wow, this is still hot. So I'm looking forward to Mrs. Mechanic getting home, but I'm actually really chuffed that she's gone off on this adventure on her own. And obviously with Eloise when she's walking and stuff, but the hikes that they're doing, they're not easy hikes at all. They're pretty full on. And she's been in training for the last few months. She's been out doing 6-7 kilometer walks with Marmite. Marmite's been coming home absolutely knackered, poor dog. She gets into the house and just, that's it, has a drink of water and then flunk, asleep until the next morning, basically. She's just got no energy left at all. And Marmite's not a young dog, you know. I think she's 13, 14 years old now. She's doing well, doing really well. She only doesn't get fed any crap, to be fair. She's when we used to live up in Auckland, Ben used to look after her more than Mrs. Mechanic. And Ben used to feed her like bacon and, you know, she used to get to lick his plate after tea, all these beans and stuff, you know. And she ate really badly as a dog, and she put on a lot of weight. But now she's lean as, she really is. And she gets treats, don't get me wrong, but you know, Ben would like feed her all the fat from his belly pork and stuff. It's like, no, you can't do that, Ben. You'll kill the dog. No, well, the prefix on the first part of the part number, that represents the general model. For example, the Surf Club ones that I work on, 1DX is that model. But the model code on Yamaha's is a white sticker, only a small sticker. It's normally on the frame, usually somewhere near the battery. Although saying that, I'll say that again, either near the battery or near the main, the driver's seat. So, for example, most motorcycles and quad bikes, it's underneath the seat on the side of the frame. And it's 4 characters, numbers or letters, a dash, and then 3 numbers, usually 0, 1, 0. It's only the first 4 that you need. But that is specific to model, year, and country as well. The only thing you'll be careful about is when you're ordering coloured panels. You need to get the dealer to check that they're ordering the right colour panel for you. You don't want that responsibility. Oh. But yeah, that little sticker, unfortunately, over the years, often the sticker disappears, it gets washed off, or the frame gets repainted and it's lost. I do have the ability, if I have the frame number, I can get the model code from the system that I use. But dealers can do that as well, though. Dealers can find out the model code based on the frame number, but you need to order it via the model code. That's the way to do it. That's really good information, thanks. That's all right, Simon. That's what I do. Yeah, I try to be as helpful as possible. All gone. Okay, pie's done. Nothing special. From memory, pretty much the same as the original one, so I'm not going to bother changing the scores and stuff. Right, I'll have one more cigarette and then we'll sign off, because I've got a lot of work to be getting on with, and I'm pretty knackered, to be fair. How many viewers have we got? 16. Woohoo! It's like Andy's private audience. Honestly, it was a bit weird, because when I was in the South Island, I edited up a load of videos while I was traveling, and we had some pretty regular content hitting the channel. But since I've got back, I've just not had time to film, edit, or anything. I've just been way too busy. And I'm looking forward to doing a video on building this workstation, because I think it's something that's going to help a lot of people building some kind of a similar thing. I know my fabrication videos in general tend not to get many views, but that's not what it's about. You know, if it helps one person somewhere in the world, it's a bonus. And it also documents the stuff that I get up to. And that's one of the reasons why I do the channel, you know. Hopefully those videos will never get lost. I mean, it's what I can leave behind, you know. It's pretty good. I have to do a video actually for work on a particular model. It's a side-by-side, and it has to cover your daily checks. What to do before you drive every morning, safety stuff. And these vehicles have got a winch on the front, so I'm going to cover a little bit of basic winch usage, and I'm also going to cover a little bit on basic off-road driving techniques. I did a load of videos years and years ago actually for Nissan, which was pretty cool. When we did when we had the off-road driving center, Nissan were developing a new website at the time, and they wanted some videos as like helpful tips to viewers on how to drive across gullies and up steep hills and down steep hills and over rocks and that kind of thing. And we did probably, I think it was about 8 videos all up, different scenarios. And they went, yeah, that was probably my first online kind of presence on videos. It would have been pretty cool. It was nice that they came to us. We used to host their new product launches on our site. They came back 3 or 4 times and usually booked the site for a whole week. And it was really busy. And I got to drive all the new Nissan stuff. We did the X-Trail launch. We did the Navara launch. We did the new Patrol launch over different years. Very interesting to see how a major manufacturer operates and how much money they actually spend when it comes to promoting their products. All the journalists were flown in by helicopter to the local hotel, the Hackness Grange. It's just unbelievable how much money they throw at those kind of things. I mean, we didn't charge them that much for our part. We were just happy to have them around. And I was in the background. I was on like recovery duty and stuff because, you know, the journalists do dumb stuff. We used to kit all their vehicles out with a mag mount CB aerial and a radio and stuff that they keep on the passenger seat. So that if they got into trouble, at least they had some communication, because there was very little phone signal in the forest, unfortunately. John Nuttall. Did you alter the wheel offset, as that alters the camber, I'm told? Does wheel offset? It's a banjo axle. Wheel offset shouldn't alter camber. Shouldn't alter camber at all. But it does create what's called bump steer. And bump steer is... Does it have bump steer? Yeah, if you hit a big pothole, the vehicle's more likely to kick to the side of the vehicle that hit the pothole. Yes. Basically, there's more leverage. Sorry, that's American. There's more leverage on the wheel, and therefore it can force the steering around more. That's not the issue. It just wanders, even on a dead flat road. You know, even on a motorway, super smooth tarmac. If you just hold the steering wheel dead still, the vehicle will go left, it'll go right, it'll go left, it'll go right, it'll go left, it'll go right. It'll just track down the road. It's weird, really weird. Almost as if there's too much play in the steering box, but that's not the reason. The vehicle's brand new, and it didn't do that before we did the lift kit. So I suspect it possibly could be additional movement in the steering system, because the ball joints on the steering components, the rods that are associated with the steering, because you've got the drag link and you've got the one from the steering box. Those ball joints can get more, they rotate more before they start to move the rod, if you know what I mean. and then you get a compound effect. You know, you've got a joint at the top, a joint at the bottom, and we used to get that with the little Suzuki SJ410s and stuff. If you did a big lift on them, ideally what you want is what's called a drop arm to go on the steering box, and that then brings your steering, your drag-link, your steering rod from the steering box to the left-hand wheel more horizontal. The steeper that angle is, the more roll you get on the ball joints before it actually moves the wheel. And it works the other way as well. So when the wheel wanders a bit, even though you're holding the steering wheel, there's more play in the steering. So that could well be the problem. And I think I can get a bigger drop link for it, drop arm. But again, I've not really researched it much at the moment. I've just been too busy. Simon, what about some shorts of the fab vids? I may get so I'll do some YouTube shorts. Maybe that could work. Jim K, hello, good morning, Jim. Welcome back to the workshop. Andy's pretty knackered at the moment, so my apologies, Jim. Better late than never. I only just got set up in time this morning. I was really against the clock, and I had to whiz out and get the pie picked up, and they don't open until 8 o'clock, and didn't want to open the workshop because I'm on my own. Didn't want to open the workshop and have bikes outside while I was gone. It was touch and go. I even had to move the tractor out of the way. So we got there in the end, and I think we got live just in time. JJ, it isn't lane keep assist, is it? Yeah, that's basically what we've got on the vehicle. You can turn it off. It currently is turned off, so it doesn't have the haptic involvement anymore, or input, but you do still get the little flashy lights on the dash. So it's still watching what's going on, but it's not doing anything about it anymore, other than just giving you advice on the dash. But again, you know, it didn't do it before the trip, and it only got really bad after we'd done a very long, boulder-ridden, deep river crossing, which I had to give it full beans to get through. Because when you tow in a trailer that weighs nearly a ton on the back on a little Jeep, if we'd stopped in the middle of that river, there wouldn't have been a chimney again, because we didn't have a winch on the front and there was nobody around to help us. The vehicle would just have flooded out, and that would have killed all the electronics. So I had to give it some beans, and maybe, just maybe, I caused some damage. I hope not. I mean, it's done probably about 8,500 Ks now. We did nearly 7,000 kilometers in the Jimny just doing the trip. Well, yeah, about that. It was a long way, because we drove up to Kaitaia, up to the top, started the event, did the full length of New Zealand, and then had to drive back home. So in effect, that Jeep has driven the full length of New Zealand twice, although the event was a much longer route because we're doing gravel roads and stuff. It's been a long way. It could just be tyre pressures, to be fair. They might just be a little bit on the high side. Jim K, you should probably just send it over. I will dispose of it for you. I'm sure you will, Jim. Jim really wants a little Suzuki Jimny, but they're not for sale in the States, unfortunately. We'll stick one in a container for you, Jim. You send me over the spec, I'll send you my bank account, and we'll get it shipped out to you. How's that? In fact, if you get one out of, like, you know, Spain, France, if we get one out of there, you'll get a left hooker as well. So you'll have the steering wheel on the correct side. And then you can just run it around on tray plates, right? Doesn't need to be certified. You're all good. JJ, probably probs have broken this have blocked that then long. JJ, try again. I don't understand that. Oh dear. Right, we're almost there, crew. I've run out of updates. We've covered the Castors, we've covered the workstation design, the laser cutting stuff, we've covered the costs of all the steel, which is ridiculous what it is. We're giving you an update on Mrs. Mechanic. Hopefully she's currently completely out of comms. She's in the middle of nowhere down Milford Sound. She's away. This will be her She started yesterday. She won't get back into Queenstown till late Tuesday night. So maybe Tuesday afternoon I'll get some kind of comms to say that they're all still alive and happy. I don't know. She's taken herself way out of her comfort zone with this hike. It's much more severe than she's used to, a lot longer. I hope she's going to be okay. But hey, there's only one way to find out, right? And life's for living, so good on her. Okay, crew, that's the cigarette gone. I really should stop, to be honest. Far too expensive. But when you put it in respect to steel and stuff, it's not, is it, really? Anyway, okay, crew, with that PayPal, if you have any problems, just flick me an email through. You've got my email address, andymechanic@live.co.uk, and we'll see if we can work something out. But I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the offer. And for everybody that's here today and going to watch this video in the future, thank you very much for watching and for supporting the channel. It is very, very much appreciated. And it's been great company again this morning because I'm all on my own. I've only got this dog and she's locked in the house at the moment, so I better go and rescue her because she'll need to go out. Okay, crew, I won't see you next Sunday. There will not be a live stream next Sunday. I have to get up at ridiculous early hour in the morning and get down to Wellington. So I'll see you in 2 weeks, whenever that is. What are we on now? The 5th, at 17th, 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time. George Bonnie 90, later guys. Spencer M went through. Probably a broken. I still don't get it. Oh no, that was okay. There we go. All good. Right. What a thing to finish on. See you next time, chaps. Cheers. Over and out.